and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be the first video in a series, kind of like a casual series, not like a serious series, I can't even say that next to each other, but basically a series about prepping for uni, going back to university, documenting my process going back to university after a year off. And I just wanted to start it with quite a casual sit down video talking about university, my plans for uni as well, how I'm kind of feeling about it and what I'm doing to prepare as well. Rather than doing like a list of things I need to prepare, because I've done that multiple times, I'm going to link all the videos down below that I've done about what to pack, what not to pack, for example, and like random things that you do need to do before you go to university down below. So definitely watch those if you haven't already and you're going into your first year this year. This video is obviously coming from the perspective of someone that is somehow going into their fourth year. Going into their fourth year of university. Where did all that time go? I have no idea. Probably something to do with the giant pandemic that was in the middle of my degree, but anyway. And so this one's a bit more of a reflective one, things I wish I'd learned, things I'm aiming to do this year. So I hope that it's of help to you, whether you're going into your first year, going into your last year, or just if you're interested in where my life is at right now. There will inevitably be some overlap between the videos down below and this video, and for that I can only apologise, but ultimately things change, but they don't change completely. So whilst I have a different mindset going into my fourth year, I am still going to be doing some of the same things that I was doing before I went into first year or second year, for example. And before we go any further, I just wanted to say, if you can see the dye line on my hair, I don't apologise because I can't really get rid of it, but just thought it'd let you know that it's not like dirt or anything. I got my hair dyed today, as you can probably tell. I did also get it styled, but unfortunately got caught in the rain on the way home, so it's looking a wee bit crazy. And I also can't actually wear any makeup at the moment. I've put some mascara on, which may actually be a very horrible decision. I will see this evening. But I've been having the worst allergic reaction around my eyes for the last 2 weeks. I have no idea what's causing it. So I've stripped everything out and I'm using one singular product on it at the moment, and I'm going to gradually reintroduce things. But you can probably see the sort of leftover redness and things. It has thankfully started to clear up. I was prescribed a hydrocortisone steroid cream and that has really helped, but I've also really been suffering from tension headaches. I finally got that diagnosed a couple of days ago. I don't know what I'm tense about. Perhaps I'm tense about university. That would make a lot of sense. The doctor said I'm under a lot of subconscious stress, and I'm feeling quite chilled at the moment, but I think maybe my inner brain knows what is about to be happening. But on the bright side, it's going to make for some great content. I'm going to be doing a moving back to Oxford vlog, a room tour once I've got it all done, Oxford study vlogs like preparing for final year, cafe hopping, cafe recommendations in Oxford. I've got loads of things planned basically. But I also do already have quite a lot of university videos down below if you'd like to watch those. Before we get properly started with this video as well, I wanted to mention that it's actually very kindly sponsored by Wondrium. You guys have heard me talk about the Great Courses Plus absolutely loads on my channel, because I am such a firm believer that it is so important to stretch your mind well beyond your academic courses and just actually learn for the sake of learning and for the sake of being interested in things. So the Great Courses Plus is now Wondrium, which basically has all of the amazing content that you know and love from the Great Courses Plus, plus more. So their educational offer is bigger and better than ever. If you're watching this because you're going to university this year, or you've just had a long break over the summer and you want to get your cogs whirring again, Wondrium is a perfect way to do that. It doesn't matter what you're curious about, Wondrium will be able to satisfy that curiosity. Whether it's history, art, music, languages, science, there's something on there for everybody. They have a carefully curated selection of long and short form videos, how-tos, tutorials, travel logs, documentaries, you name it, they've got it. And every single one of them is well researched and presented by entertaining and engaging academics. Honestly, I've never wanted to switch one of their videos off, because they really do just pull you in and really get you to just enjoy the process of learning with no deadlines, no assignments and no stress. I don't know about you, but I absolutely loved watching the Olympics this year. I must have watched pretty much all the coverage because I wasn't really feeling well when I was in isolation, and I spent all my mornings just sat watching the Olympics. But honestly, it really like piqued my interest to learn more about the games, and specifically about where the games came from. So I've actually been watching a video on Wondrium about the ancient Olympics, how it came to be, and honestly it's just fascinating and perfect proof that you really don't need to be studying for an assignment, for a deadline, for homework, homework or for your degree to actually just really enjoy it and get a lot out of it. And as always, they've been kind enough to hook me up with a free trial deal for you guys. So if you head to wonderdream.com/Eve, which will be on the screen and in the description, then you can start your free trial today and you absolutely will not regret it. I've been working with these guys for a long time now and I've learned so much from them. So without further ado, let's head into the actual video. So I am actually moving back to Oxford on, I'm hoping the 4th or the 5th of September. That's the aim, primarily because I really want to take the month of September to actually do my university work. As I've just mentioned, I've really just not been great over the last few weeks. I've been alright to sort of go about my daily life, but when I sit down to like do any long-term tasks, I'm really struggling with concentration purely because my head just gets worse and worse if I try and sit down and concentrate. But I'm really hoping that will be cleared up in time for me to go back to university. But I thought today I'd just talk a little bit about some of the things that I'm doing other than, well, I'm not doing the uni work at the moment for obvious reasons, but other than the uni work, what else am I doing to get prepared? Because some of these things may also be really helpful for you guys if you are A, going back to university or starting university in September or October. So the first thing I am really trying to focus on at the moment is finances, and I've spoken about this in other videos. It is incredibly important to manage your finances effectively at university. I must admit that I was really not good at this, especially in my first year of university. I want to say now, as I always do, that I am so incredibly lucky to earn money from YouTube, and with that money it meant that I could live quite comfortably at university alongside my student loans. So I don't want to go into this video saying, oh, I didn't budget and it was kind of fine but I probably should budget, because I'm aware that I'm in such a privileged position to not need to budget. So please do not take this the wrong way at all. I just want to stress that I am so incredibly lucky to be in the position that I am, and I count my lucky stars for it every single day. So I mentioned in my other video the importance of getting a student bank account, so I won't touch too much on this, but I just wanted to remind you, I'm not in any way sponsored by Santander, but if you travel a lot, then it is really worth getting the Santander account, because you do actually get a 4-year free rail card, and I have my rail card, the value of that rail card has paid for itself about 5 times over for me already, and I didn't even pay for the rail card. So if you travel a lot, then I would definitely recommend opening a student account with Santander, but 100% just like shop around, because if you're not really that keen on rail travel, then there are lots of freebies at other bank accounts, at other bank branches, that may be of more benefit to you. So shop around before you commit to a bank account. These bank accounts obviously do come with an agreed overdraft, but it's really better if you can just avoid ever going into that overdraft at all. Of course, I'm not trying to say that if you do, you're bad with money or anything, because I am completely aware that people's financial circumstances can differ massively. Things can crop up that are not expected. But a really good way to minimise your chances of going into an overdraft is budgeting. I am actually going to really make an effort to budget this year. I want to make sure that I'm keeping better track of my incomings and outgoings and managing my money better. I really should be better at it than I am, and I think that it's actually quite poor of me that I've really not made an effort to be better with my finances, because the amount of money you can waste without realising, whether that's just because you've not managed your shopping budget right or you've forgotten to cancel a membership for something, it's actually crazy. I'm not going to talk to you about how to budget specifically, because I am, as I said, not one to tell you about that, but I will link some videos down below about budgeting, how to manage your money effectively, and also ensure that you have money left over to do things that you enjoy, whether that's going out with friends. Again, I'm incredibly aware that I'm in a privileged position to be even talking about tax returns, but when I come to do my tax return, I always regret just not keeping better track of my expenses, for example, my incomings, my outgoings, like all of that sort of stuff, because then I leave it to the deadline, and if I'd have just kept my accounts in order, kept a list of my bank statements in a folder so that everything is there for easy reference, it would save me so much time. I would really recommend having a physical folder with your bank statements, with printouts from the university. For example, when you get your letter from Student Finance England showing your loan entitlement, just have it all in one folder so that if you ever have any questions or queries or issues to do with anything financial, you have all the information about how you can access help, what your overdraft is, what your bank term policies are, all in one place. But I'm not going to advise any more about finance, because as I said, that's something that I really want to work on myself this year, and so maybe this time next year I can do a video on how to manage your personal finances effectively. If you are like me, however, and you are going into your final year of university, or you've just graduated and you're entering into the world of rent, perhaps looking to buy a house, or maybe like in the not so distant future considering buying or renting property, or you're just looking at your student loans, etc, etc, I would really recommend this book. It's called Money, A User's Guide. It's a Sunday Times bestseller, and I have barely read half of it so far, and I have learned so much. I've even opened up a credit card, people, to build my credit score. Not that it was bad anyway, but I have no credit history. This is not what this video is about, but if you want to learn more about how to improve your credit score so that you're in a better position to buy a house, how to manage money and emotions, how to manage money and relationships, not that that's an issue for me, how to manage just your finances in general, and you just want an overview of how the most basic financial things in life work, then I can wholeheartedly recommend this book. This is going to be a Bible for me, and it was only $7.99, and I guarantee you, just by me opening that credit card in the future, this book would have paid for itself. But there are so many handy tips and tricks in here. I don't know if I would recommend this if you're just starting university, because it doesn't have any guides on how to manage your money at university. For them, I would really recommend SaveTheStudent.com. Again, I will link it down below. They have a really good explanation of how student loans work, how to manage your finances. Basically, I will link all of the useful documents to do with student loans, student living, student life, student money, where to get help from, how to cut corners, how to use your student discount effectively, how to make the most of being a student and make the most of your loan down below, because those honestly have been like a Bible to me as well. In fact, I actually have them printed out in my money folder. Oh, and by the way, please don't take me saying that I've got a credit card as a sign that you need a credit card. Please just read up on that, because it might not be the best option for you. It might be a great option for you depending on if you can afford the repayments, but credit cards have insane interest rates. So if you feel like it would be a bad idea, please don't do it. Please just read up on it yourself, and do not take anything I've said in this video as financial advice, because as I said, I'm not a financial advisor. The next thing is something that I did mention in the last video as well, but I wanted to reiterate how important this is, because I actually knew someone who, if they hadn't have had this insurance, would have been basically screwed, to be honest. And it's really important if you're living away from home that you invest in some contents insurance. This is something that I need to do for this year. It's really not that expensive relatively. I think the average person pays around £60 a year, according to Money Supermarket at least, and it basically protects all of your belongings from theft, fire, break-in, and you can obviously add like extra coverage for accidental damage, coverage for your gadgets. You can even add coverage for like your keys, your lecture notes, depending on what you want. But I know that accidents do happen, so it's so worth investing in that. It's a small price to pay for peace of mind that if something goes wrong, that you'll be covered. But do also double check, because a lot of the time, I know a lot of home insurance policies that your parents might have may actually cover you at university. So talk to your parents and talk to their bank about it, or wherever their insurance provider is, and see if you could perhaps save that £60 for something else. But if not, I really recommend doing it, and it's definitely something that I'm going to be doing this afternoon. Another one that I actually don't know if I have mentioned before at all is to do with healthcare. So first thing I would recommend is, before you go to uni, just have a little check over. I know this sounds really stupid, and I'm not recommending that you go to the GP just for a checkup at the moment, because they're obviously incredibly overwhelmed. But I, for example, went to the dentist, I got my eyes tested, and I went to the GP because I wasn't feeling 100%, just to have like a quick once over before you go to uni, because then you can hit the ground running, and when you inevitably get freshers flu, at least you know you're in top form to fight it off. Or COVID, actually. Now it's going to be freshers flu or COVID, take your pick, or maybe both, who knows. Also, if you haven't got your COVID vaccination yet, then I would really recommend doing that, if you're able to do so. Obviously, I've got my first dose, very excited to get my second dose. We'll be pushing to get it as soon as physically is possible. I will be at the door of the walk-in centre the second they allow, being like, please stick a needle in my arm, even though I hate needles. The first side effects for me really weren't that bad. I had a very sore arm for like 24 hours. I have heard that the second dose is worse, but that's why I want to get it done before university starts. Also, they may be introducing, who knows, with our government, things tend to change from one day to the next. They might be introducing a double jab, like it's obligatory to have a double jab to enter certain places. So if you want to make the most of social life at uni, / protect yourself and others against COVID, stop yourself from getting it, stop yourself spreading it onto other people in the community, then definitely get your COVID vaccination if you can. A lot of universities will be doing walk-ins, I honestly guarantee it, because it's in their best interest that their student population is vaccinated. So if you haven't already got it, I guarantee you there'll be somewhere on your university campus or in your university town that will let you do that. Another really important thing that you do is that you register with a GP when you get to your university. So Oxford, for example, doesn't have a specific university health centre. A lot of universities do. So rather than registering with like a local GP in the area, you can literally register as a patient at your uni health centre. And then when you go home for the holidays, you just have to, if you ever need to go to your local doctors, then you just have to fill out a quick form to register as a temporary patient, because they'll still have you on record, obviously. But please, please, please remember to register for a GP, because you never know when you're going to need it. And to be honest, the first few weeks of uni is probably when you're most likely to need it. Also find out where your local sexual health clinic is, where you can get contraceptive resources, etc, etc, STI checks, all of that sort of stuff. Maybe even consider getting one done before you go to university. Sexual health is just as important as like, your sort of respiratory health, all the rest of your health. So make sure you find out from your university whether the contraceptive and like those sort of services are provided at your university health centre. If there's somewhere else, for example, my actual college at university, they offer free contraceptive resources, so definitely check up on that one as well. Also find out where your local A&E is. I know that sounds really stupid, but just in case, it's good to have a vague idea of where it is. And a pharmacy, because that was something that I just didn't figure out, and I really needed to go to a pharmacy. My phone was dead and I literally was walking around Oxford like, does anybody know where I can go? And it was just Boots, but my head that just didn't come into my head. And another thing I would like to do personally, this is not something that I'm advising you to do if you don't want to, is to really think about how I'm going to be exercising when I go back to uni. I did not exercise barely at all in my second year. Which showed in my physical and mental health, and this year I've really discovered how much I enjoy it and how much it benefits me. I can see that it's raining outside, and I still know for a fact that I'm going to go for a run after filming this video because it makes me feel really good. And I've decided that I want to take up running to save on gym costs, because unfortunately Oxford does not have a gym. Like, it doesn't have a university gym. It has a sports centre which is really far from my college, and the two gyms in Oxford are like the other side of town, and I'm not entirely sure how easy it's going to be for me to integrate a trip to the gym into my routine, because I am so busy when I'm at uni that I thought that running is great, because running is like your workout literally starts when you leave your house. I live right next to a giant park, which 2 laps is a 5k. So honestly, it's a much more cost and time efficient thing for me to do at uni. But if you are into fitness or you want to be into fitness, then definitely look into whether your gym has, like your university has a gym, because it will be so much cheaper than normal, like so much cheaper. It's the best time of your life to take advantage of cheap gym membership. Or if not, if you want to go running or anything, see if there are any park runs in your university town, if there are running groups or swimming groups or horse riding groups or whatever you want to do before you go, so that can give you an idea of what to pack and also what you're going to be up to when you're at uni. And I can really strongly, heavily recommend, do not make the mistakes that I did and don't do any exercise. Even if you just walk places rather than get in a taxi, I guarantee you will notice a difference in your university performance, your mental health, your energy levels, and your ability to just get through the week if you exercise like 3 times a week, if you're able to, of course. But I would really recommend it. It's a game changer, trust me. Another thing to do is to make sure that you're taking advantage of being a student. Definitely download Uni Days. Uni Days will give you student discounts on a million different things. If you've not gone with Santander for your student bank account and you need a rail card, invest in a rail card. But honestly, I think you should just go and get the student bank account with Santander, because then you get a free 4-year rail card. I don't know if you need an NUS card specifically anymore. I do feel like Uni Days generally tends to cover most things, as well as student beans. But make sure you've registered with that as soon as you get your university email or your university card, because that will save you so much money right from the get-go. And finally, this is something that I really want to focus on, and I don't think I've mentioned particularly much in my other videos because I didn't do much of it in my first and second year, and that is cooking decent meals for yourself. Because oh my god, like, I look back at even at second year and I just cringe at what I was eating. It wasn't necessarily bad for me at all. No idea of the nutrients that I was really putting in my body. I just was not feeding myself right. I was not nourishing my body, and you do notice a difference when you actually make an effort to eat properly. I'm not saying don't go out for meals. I'm not saying don't order a cheeky delivery if you've had a bad day. I'm just saying the amount of money you will save and the amount of difference you will notice if you make the effort to cook relatively simple but like healthy meals will be enormous. And this is a message to future Eve as well. Like, I need to practice what I preach, because I was absolutely shocking. Even at the start of my year abroad, I really just was not looking after myself. Now I really do make the effort to eat quite well, and oh my goodness, the difference that I have noticed. Not even just eating well, like, I don't want this to come across as like, you only need to eat exclusively fruit and vegetables and nothing else. I just mean like knowing the balance of what's good, or knowing how to fuel myself when I exercise, or knowing what my body needs at certain points if my energy's dipping or if I'm not feeling great. Knowing what to feed it to make it feel better is really, really, really helpful. If you have a freezer, you are in massive luck, because then you can batch cook things like chili, things like bolognese, soup, etc., and freeze it. If you're like me and you don't have a freezer, it is so much more difficult. In fact, I am incredibly tempted, and I probably will take a freezer with me to uni, because I honestly don't, I think that that is what stopped me from cooking as much in first and second year, because if I cooked chili con carne, I would have to eat chili con carne every meal for 3 days, and that really puts you off your food. So if you have got freezer space, check if you do, then that'll be really helpful. Definitely bring some Tupperware tubs to university, and have a look at online at places like BBC Good Food. They do amazing recipes that you can batch cook. And also, I would really, really recommend, hold on, let me find them actually, I've got them nearby. I would wholeheartedly recommend the Nosh for Student books. This one is the vegetarian one, because as I said, I really am trying to cut out meat. I am still eating fish, and I do up there, I believe, yes, have the Nosh for Students Volume 1 and Volume 2, which I will also be taking to university with me. These are absolutely fantastic, purely because, no, not even purely because, primarily because everything that you need is something that you would be taking to uni. It literally gives you a list of what you need to take with you to uni, which I actually need to look at because I do not have one of these things. And also, every single recipe is measurable in mugs, and it literally gives you a reference size, so you just need to have a mug that is that size, and every single recipe is used with this, so you don't need scales. Like, even if you don't bring scales to uni, it's genuinely not even important. And it tells you the basics, how to cook eggs, for example, or how to make different sandwiches, how to cook jacket potatoes, how to cook rice and pasta portions. Literally as well tells you exactly how long each individual vegetable and potato needs in the oven, because again, these are things that if you didn't cook a lot at home, you just won't know, and I didn't know at all. And now I feel enlightened. I'm ready to go back to uni with a basic grasp of how to actually cook things. Not that I couldn't cook before, I could follow a recipe, but like, you know, just those things that your parents just know. This will help you with that a lot. I can thoroughly recommend all of the Nosh books. And another thing I would really recommend doing is getting your parents to teach you how to make your favourite meals from home, whether that's your mum's shepherd's pie or your dad's apple crumble or whatever your comfort meal is. I would really recommend, before you go, taking some time to say to your parents, hey, like, could we have this for dinner one time this week, and could I help you cook it, and write down the recipe, because that will not only help with eating nutritious meals, you know, filled with all of the nutrients that you need, but also will really help with when you're missing home. It will be really, really useful to have those comfort meals that you can whip up if you just are missing being at home and you can't actually get home. You can, of course, bring other cookbooks to uni. I would really recommend the Bosch Vegan Nosh cookbook. I've been absolutely enjoying that so much recently. And I also got the Vegetarian Athletes cookbook, which is more for if you're trying to watch your macros or you do a lot of sport. I don't do a lot of sport, but I'm trying to do running at the moment, and so I am trying to like fuel my body properly so I can perform better on the runs, etc, etc. That's also a very useful cookbook. But as I said, at uni you kind of want non-time consuming recipes, and that is why a simple book like Nosh or a website like BBC Good Food will be your best friend. And as well as this, I would really look into where your local supermarket is and get a loyalty card. So I have managed to finesse the system this year. I must admit, I am feeling pretty chuffed with myself and pretty financially savvy. I'm not financially savvy at all, but this was a win for me. I managed to get my credit card with Tesco Bank, which means that I get extra club card points, and it's all just, if I pay for my shopping on my credit card, I get extra club card points. It gets immediately put into the app. I can track my credit score for free for 3 years, and as well as that, I just pay it off automatically. So basically, I'm just getting awarded for shopping at Tesco with a Tesco card with more club card points. But I'm not recommending that you get a credit card like straight with Tesco Bank or anything. I'm just saying that there are ways to maximise your food shops. So for example, if you get a club card with Tesco, you are going to earn so many points, and you can use that on meals off at Pizza Express, like fuel, etc, etc. It's so worth it. You can get it on an app, so there's no excuse. You don't have to be forking out your card. You can literally get it on your Apple Wallet, for example. Or if you shop at Sainsbury's, get a Nectar card, etc, etc. Find your local supermarket and be a regular, and if they have a loyalty scheme, you will get rewarded for that. Whether that's over your first year or if you just shop there your whole time at uni, you will definitely reap the benefits. And I guarantee you, if you get a club card, you'll get a very nice meal at Pizza Express pretty much for free within about 4 months of shopping with it. It's great. So those are all the sort of things that I thought of that I have mentioned before sometimes, but like new updated editions of advice of things that I really would recommend that you do before you go to uni or before you go back to uni. Again, I'm no expert. I've still got a lot to learn, but I do finally feel like I'm in a position of relatively knowing what's going on with uni, kind of. We shall see what happens when I go back in 4th year. It could all go horribly wrong, but I hope not. I am really excited for 4th year, and I am just very excited to study smarter rather than harder, to take those lessons that I learnt the hard way in my first 2 years and implement them to not only do well at uni in my final year, like I really want to do well, but I also want to have a good time. I want to really try to exercise more, sleep more, eat better, and I know that that's easier said than done, and I know that when I get sucked back into the uni bubble and the deadlines are coming thick and fast, it's not always going to be possible to do everything. But above all, I just really want to be kind to myself and cut myself a bit of slack in finals, because it's a hard time. Going to university is hard enough. Like, every single year of university has its challenges. So if you are going to uni this year and you're thinking, oh my god, like, I've been reading about all this advice and I just feel so overwhelmed and I don't know where to start, honestly, even just doing a couple of things to make yourself more prepared is good enough. And you will learn as you go, and you will make mistakes, and you will learn from those mistakes. And unfortunately, no amount of university advice video is going to prepare you for some of the mistakes that you're going to make. But that's the whole point of university, and I guarantee you, if you're just kind to yourself and you cut yourself a little bit of slack, it will all come good in the end. I really, really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what other videos you would like to see in the study prep series, honestly, in the university prep series, sorry. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts, requests, etc, etc. Thank you so much to Wondrium for sponsoring this video. If you would like to find out more about the Wondrium free trial, you can head to the description because all of the information is there. And hopefully I will be back soon without a rash on my face, without dye on my face, for a new video. Okay, goodbye.